My name is Tom. I'm with AVPro Edge, and we are here for another new product training. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. If you are joining live, if you're watching on YouTube later, I appreciate you checking out the new product. As you know, AVPro is continuously putting out products. I feel like I'm talking to you guys more and more on a regular basis. And today we have a product that maybe some of you guys are going to be familiar with. We have an extender set, and we have an RNE, which is our receiver that goes with our HDBaseT matrix switchers. And what we're doing is we're talking about weatherproofing from a company called Sealoc, a new partner of ours, and we have worked together to actually have these best-selling extenders that we are currently selling, that you guys are currently installing. We have had these weatherproof, so now that you can use these in even more applications, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'll go quickly over what these products are, but then we'll kind of really mostly be talking about Sealoc and the Sealoc process and the testing that they have done with these extenders to give you the peace of mind that this is the real deal. You are going to be safe to put these in outdoor areas. And so I want to thank you first and foremost for joining, and let you know that if you are listening live, we have a GoToWebinar control panel. At that control panel, you can click the questions tab. You can just start typing in questions, and I would be able to see them in real time. So I can check my questions. Looks like there hasn't been anything yet, so I must be doing everything okay. You guys can hear and see me. If you're watching on YouTube later, just put it down in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to address those as soon as we have any questions that you have. So let's talk a little bit about these extenders right here. So these are the two units that we have. You can actually see they have some new silk print on there that says Sealoc shielded in this way up, because it's not actually just the boards that have been sealed. They have sealed the entire chassis. They've used their nano fluid that all completely over the inside of the boards to protect it from the different weather. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let me share my screen here. All right. And I think you should be seeing my web page. So this is the first product that I can show you. This is our AC-EX40-444 kit. This is our best-selling extender kit. It's a point-to-point 18 gigabit per second 4K 44460 signaling, so you can get the full HDMI signal from one end to another end, and you can go 40 meters over category cable. And so with this product that you're looking at right here, this is the product that we have then been selling. We've heard from our integrators that they love this product, but we've also heard from our integrators that, hey, I have an outdoor zone that I want to, I'm going to need a little more coverage on, or hey, I'm going to need to put this receiver and it could potentially get wet, or it's in a really dirty, dusty location, or it's really, really humid in this room, or there's a lot of fog, there's a lot of salt from the ocean. In these instances, if you use a regular extender over a period of time, these are other elements that are going to allow that extender to actually fail. And so what you can do is you can now purchase this one, or choose this one, install this type of product that has the Sealoc shielding, and you know that you have that peace of mind knowing that that zone that you put this in that is outdoor is still going to be stable. So if you look at the screen, this is the product that we're doing, the point-to-point kit. The application is really simple. You have a 4K source. It goes through an HDMI cable into the transmitter. The transmitter unit is actually not coated, because this is normally going to be inside near a source. So this is like near a computer, or near a a Blu-ray player, a media player, some sort of source device. And then your receiver is going to be by the display device. And so the display device is where, you may have to have this be in a zone where you're not going to have a lot of electronics. You have like a case for your display, but maybe the extender doesn't fit in there, or you can't mount it properly. Whatever the reason is, you can now use this extender, which is going to be the receiver portion, and we have its own website right here. And so as you can see, I just clicked the link to get to the other website, is how we were checking that out. But here's the website. It's available right on avproedge.com, and you'd be able to see that this is the weatherproof extender set. and it's a point-to-point set that's going to protect you from direct rain, dust, humidity, sea fog, salt fog, some different weaker chemicals, and heat is not going to be an issue as well, and we'll actually go over why that could be an issue. So this is the product that we have. Now let's talk about what happened to these, what we had to do to make them weatherproof, and show you the real deal, show you how we tested them. And when I say we, AVPro didn't test these at all. Sealoc tested these. AVPro doesn't have the facility to set up to manipulate rain and fog and all of these different things, but our partners do at Sealoc do. So they have done the process and they have tested these, and that's what I'm going to run you through here. So let me pull up my PowerPoint right here and we'll go right through it. If you guys have any questions at all, just shout them out at any time. I have a question as I check that. It says, I have a lull here, ask me, how about cold and snow? Well, snow is going to be exactly the same thing as your wet. It is going to be completely protected from that. If it is going like Antarctic, I don't know if it's going to be handling those kind of cold, that kind of cold temperatures, but I can tell you that electronics like the cold. They run hot, and if you can get them to stay cold, they run better and they run longer. So no, cold is no problem at all, and this will protect against snow. So that's a great point, Lowell. And he did say he couldn't see anything. I'm sure you guys can see it now. I see in the sharing you have. So Lowell, I apologize if I didn't have that up right away. But now let's go over this presentation and let's talk about these. So first of all, what did we do to these products? To these two products right here, these are the two SKUs. What actually happened? Well, what actually happened is these went through the Sealoc shielding process. So now this is a full Sealoc shielded unit that is going to be protected from the weather. And when you see that Sealoc shielding, you know that's the name to trust in weatherproofing. And that is why AVPro teamed up with this company, Sealoc. And this team at Sealoc, they did more than just coat the inside of the boards, which they did with their little magic liquid, as I put it here. It is a nano fluid that they are using to protect all the components of the electric board. But they also sealed the holes that we have for heat management, so to make sure that the airflow can go through. They've sealed the top so that the if you have it going this way, water cannot come in. And the way that works is, you know, they use their sealing, they go through their process, they put it all together on what they think it should be, and then they actually test it, and they test it heavily in some really, really cool ways to find out if it actually is weatherproof or not. And so let's talk a little bit about that. But before, I guess I do want to say, but it is talk about this nano fluid. So the first thing they do, though, is they do take this apart, get this board out, and there's different ways to put this nano fluid on. Now, this nano fluid is a very, very thin fluid that would coat the entire PCB or computer board of whatever electronic that it is protecting. And with this layer, now no water can actually get to that into that components. But electrical signals, if they do need to pass, like through connection ports, they would actually still be able to get an electronic signal or a data signal through that that nano fluid, which is really, really cool. And so thank goodness Sealoc has developed this, and you know, thank goodness we are now partnering with them to bring this solution to you. So to go over this, once this has been Sealoc shielded, it is IP68 dust and waterproof. Electrical contact can be made through the barrier coating. It does resist water, dust, salt air, and many chemicals, the weaker ones. It is non-flammable, so you don't have to have any worry about putting this on and then it becoming a safety problem down the line. And it's actually ecologically and human health friendly as well. So it is you're not harming the environment. It's not a corrosive chemical that is going to, you know, destroy our planet. You know, Sealoc has your back on this, making sure that they're protecting your components for stability and long-lasting use of electronics, but, you know, making sure that they're doing it the right way. The actual sealant, the nanos, the fluid that's inside and coated this, it's actually a slightly bit flexible. so that if there are vibrations, it is vibration resistant, that it can last last long enough that it can flex and when it needs to make sure that it's not going to be brittle and break off, then causing the water to be able to get back into your component. So this is the product that we have right here. You can see the two pictures, so I can hold it down, but we have the units right here is our EX40-444 plus, and then this receiver unit is going to be used with our matrix switchers. This is just some other points that I've already covered here. So let's actually talk about the testing of the units. The testing of these units, they were actually done by Sealoc, as I said before. They were not done by us. And Sealoc does this to get this Sealoc shield that AVPro Edge products like these two have earned. We had to go through a pretty rigorous test. And when we got this testing results back from Sealoc, I just was so impressed with how thorough and how hardcore they really tested this stuff. So that's what we're going to go through. So what the goal though of this testing is to test the overarching effectiveness of the Sealoc's nano fluid treatment. That's the goal, the overarching goal of this test. And the testing on the receivers was done not only as a hybrid, so applications meaning indoor and outdoor, but also in direct rain situations. So we did have some transmitters and we had some different receivers tested as well to see which products were going to respond best. We just came down to these were going to be the best ones for everybody's, and that came down to, after we tested the humidity and salt fog and rainfall testing, they still worked really well. And one of the things that, we brought up earlier was heat. Well, if you enclose this PCB board with a substance and then you cover all of the ventilation holes, well, how is this going to breathe? How is it going to still have airflow? And it actually, even though you're not able to see it, even though it is waterproof to go in, it is actually breathable. So air can get in and out. And this does not raise the actual heat. We'll look at that in just a second here. So the process for actually Sealocking these is they use the spray method. So they had our PCB, the board out of this unit. They used a spray method to apply the nano fluid treatment, and they coated the entire board. The actual, once it is all dried and treated, the actual thickness of this treatment is only 19 microns thin. So it is like a sliver of your hair thin. That's pretty impressive. And then the sealed chassis ventilation holes with a specific material that then breathes but allows it to be waterproof. And so this is actually a picture. If you guys are looking here, this is actually a picture of the testing process. As you can see, they have some different types of extenders. They have it on a board here, and they are going to be running these through the ringer. And how they did it is they used a control method. So they had one treated unit and one non-treated unit, and that's what you can kind of see, treated and control. And they put it through a humidity, salt fog, heat, and rain testing. And so that's what we're going to just kind of cover those results. The rainfall testing. So they have direct water overhead, prolonged exposure over a few hours to make sure that it would, even if it was raining hard for a long time, it would still be able to. It is sealed, but the bottom is not sealed in the same way that the top is. So if any water did get inside the unit, it would still be able to, slowly leak out the bottom and wouldn't affect your components. And in turn, they found that, we'll get to the results at the end here, but I'll just tell you, as soon as they drop the water on the control unit, it turns off, okay? These are not meant to be dipped in water. They're not meant to be sprayed. They are very, very touchy electronics working on very, very touchy silicone images that is coded to perfection and engineered in these super small form factors. So spraying water on it is definitely not something we would ever recommend. But the cool part is after they did that, our control unit immediately turns off, of course. But what happens to our unit that has been treated? Keeps running, and it runs the entire time and doesn't have any problems. Something that we think is so cool about that Sealoc treatment is that even though you would think it's just, you go and you dip whatever and it's good to go, no, they took the time to really test, make sure that this is labeled properly, that you make sure you installing this up so that if you are outside and the direct rain is hitting it, that you are going to be okay. They took those extra steps, and we're seeing that in this testing. Some of the testing equipment that they provided for are, that they tested these units against is an indoor-outdoor hydrometer, a forced air heater, an ultrasonic cool mist humidifier. They have a looks like a 8x4 by 6.5 chamber that they're actually testing these things in. They have an infrared thermometer to make sure, to take that temperature. And as you can see, they used a Roku streaming HDMI cable. So even though they're testing these units, they're actually testing them when they're on and they're showing data and they're playing a movie or you're watching Netflix or whatever you needed to do, or show that digital signage, bring that menu system. So many options for these outdoor extenders and endpoints here. But we tested them with real live video, and they tested them with these professional testing equipment here. So now let's talk a little bit about testing over time. They tested first, you can see on the left-hand side, this is going to be some readouts for our heat. And you can see on the right, we have our control units, and on the left, we have our treated units. And the thing that you may think is, okay, these are treated, these have been covered up, the holes have been covered, but they tested them between 93.4 and 122.7 degrees Fahrenheit, a varying temperature over 4 straight days. And as you can see, each one of these, the treated units and the control units, both the temperatures went up. But as you can see, the control and the treated units, once it was up to a certain temperature, it leveled out at that temperature, and it just kept on, staying at that temperature, not getting any hotter, not getting any less hot, but still running the entire time, knowing that even though it is completely coated and the air ventilation system holes are covered, you're still getting enough airflow. You can still be confident that your extender is going to be working over time. And then these are the results for our salt and humidity results. I don't have to go to each one, but how this kind of works is you have a unit right here, and each of these has an hour, and they check on it. So let's say for the EX40-444 kit, which is going to be this kit right here, we can see at start that it was running no problem. And then they treated it on this left-hand side. This is for the salt fog report. And so they pumped that space full of salt fog, and you can see over a 1, 2, 3, 4, 8-hour period, it was yes at each time. None of the no's were selected. If one of the no's would have been selected, you would see it in red. And so you can see that it had still been working the entire time after the 8-hour period. And then if you check the next day, each one of the extenders that it was tested was still working the next day. Pretty cool. That's the same with salt fog and humidity. And some cool things about this was, even when they did this test, our control units still passed as well. So we do try to use the best components we can, the best engineering we can to put together a really stable extender, and this shows it. Like I said, the rainfall testing, that was a complete fail. The rainfall testing had the greatest impact for sure. As soon as the control units were hit with water, they turned off, and as soon as the water hit the ones that were treated, they continued working, no problem at all. That is the entire testing process that Sealoc has done. So now you know that we're okay for testing with dust, with dirt, with water, snow, all the different sorts of things that are going to cause, are what you're going to run into as an integrator and your outdoor components. They are going to be covered by choosing this unit here. You can find these units on our website, right under the extenders. You can find the RNE under the standalone kits, and you can find the extender kit, the 4444 kit, under the kits. It's the same product number as before, just -SEA for Sealoc. And so I want to thank Sealoc for partnering with us to bring these solutions to our integrators. If you guys have any other questions, just please put them in the questions area, and then I will address them right here. And I can do that right now. So let's take a look and see if we got any questions coming in. All right. Is this process going to be used on more AVPro products? Well, that's really up to you guys, right? I mean, is this something that you want? We started with these two. It sure can. As you can see through those testing pictures, we tested a lot of different other products and they're all ready to go. But we just need to know that that's what the integrators are looking for. So if you are an integrator that's on the coast, that's installing in gyms, that's installing in humid areas and dirty areas and dusty areas and places that are hard to get to, places that are on a lake house or in a beach home or in a boat room, all of those places are going to have high humid and you're going to have problem with electronics. Using Sealoc protected components is going to protect you from having to roll your truck back to the side and try to troubleshoot to find out what's going on, just to find out that the components in that area, got too humid or were too wet or got too dusty or whatever else could have been the problem. So if these sell really well, we will move those onto other components. Now, if you need just one thing Sealoc, you can do that. Sealoc is a partner we've partnered up with to Sealoc a bunch of different units so that we can kind of device that price and give our integrator something that is affordable for those zones. But of course, if money's not an issue, just go right to Sealoc. I'm sure they would be happy to Sealoc anything that you needed to get Sealoc'd. All right. And does the cost go up? Yes, it sure does. This is a premium unit. We had to, realize that we had to get them in, so it's going to be that full price, but then we had to take them apart, do an entire treatment, do the testing, make sure everything's going to work, individualize and make sure each one is sealed at all the components. So that does come with an added price. And if you are looking for that pricing, just contact your rep, whoever your rep is in your area. They will be able to get your pricing right away. They can't wait to talk to you. And if you're, if you're not sure who your rep is, just give us a call. We'll be happy to get you in touch with them. All right, and that looks like about all the questions that I have today. I hope that you guys appreciated the training. If you guys have any questions, no problem. You can email me afterwards at tom@avproglobal.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sure we'll have new products coming out soon. I've already been planning my month of June products. We already have a couple. It's gonna be really exciting. So definitely stay tuned. You'll see all that in the June newsletter that comes out at the beginning of June. And thanks again for joining us today. Have a great one.